This is High Level Korean with 한국어천재 on TBS EFM.
We are with Mr. Fancy Pants himself.
That's me.
Professor Dan. How are you doing?
Good, very nice. Doing very well today.
Yeah, I mean, last week we talked a lot about, finances and things like that.
Sure, making money. 돈
but
벌기가
what
쉽지
about you?
않죠.
Do you have any retirement plans or 그런 꿈 같은 거 있나요?
그냥 연금 믿고 삽니다.
연금 믿고. That's right. Just trust in the pension.
Fingers crossed, right?
401k.
yeah.
Nothing spectacular. Just 그냥 평범하게 살면.
예, 그냥 어느 정도 나오면
너무 좋죠.
만족할 겁니다.
That's
네네,
right. Well, we do have a quiz question for our listeners. 오늘의 2부 퀴즈인데요. 다음 중 진달래꽃을 쓴 시인은 누구일까요? 1번 박목월, 2번 윤동주, 3번 김소월. 진달래꽃을 쓴 시인 누구일까요? 정답을 아시는 분들은 샵 1013으로 단문 50원, 장문 100원, 유료 문자 보내주시면 추첨을 통해서 커피 쿠폰 드리겠습니다. Getting in a message again. 7939님께서는 아니, 푸니타. 폴 매튜와 함께하는 아침 방송 잘 들었는데 옛 친구 만난 듯한 반가움. 저는 가끔 인간관계와 스마트폰 은퇴하고 싶어요. 라고 하는데요. 마찬가지입니다. 공감합니다, 진짜. Sometimes I just want to retire from meeting people, all of the relationships I have, and especially the mobile.
It can be stressful.
It certainly can. But hopefully we can give you guys some release as we talk a little bit more about literature today.
Yes, so I know spring is in the air, so I picked two poems that talk about flowers.
네. Talking a little bit about poems today, so I hope you guys enjoy. And, Professor Dan's going to do a dramatic reading for us.
Okay, well, here goes. So this is Azalea's 진달래꽃. So 한번 쭉 읽어보겠습니다. So, 나 보기가 역겨워 가실 때에는 말없이 고이 보내드리오리다. When seeing me sickens you and you walk out, I'll send you off without a word, no fuss. 영변의 약산 진달래꽃 아름답다 가실 길에 뿌리오리다. 영변's Mount Yaksan's azaleas. By the armful I'll scatter in your path. 가시는 고름고름 놓인 그 곳을 사뿐히 줄여 밟고 가시옵소서. With parting steps on those strewn flowers, treading lightly, go on, leave. 나 보기가 역겨워 가실 때에는 죽어도 아니 눈물 흘리오리다. When seeing me sickens you and you walk out, why, I'd rather die than weep one tear.
참 음악이 도움이 많이 주네요.
음악 없이는 참
That's right. The power of music
is
really.
very powerful. Some BGM, right?
Yeah,
배경음악
I think that's
참.
이루마 as well.
Oh,
Lovely
very nice.
music.
Yeah,
Yes. We're getting a message. 펭수 아빠님께서는 Professor Dan, your voice is like 원빈.
오,
And
그만큼.
Benita, your voice is like 고현정이라고 보내주시는데요. Professor 원빈이라고 해야 되나요, 그러면?
그만큼은 아니고
극찬인가요?
그냥 일반 남자 목소리인데 뭐.
I love it. So this is 진달래꽃. 정말 약간 슬프면서 약간 I don't know. I feel like if you texted this nowadays, it would be an ouch.
Yes, it would be a big ouch. So maybe kind of foreshadowing a breakup or some kind of insecurity in a relationship. So.
요즘 시대에 약간 compare를 하면 문자 같은 거 이렇게 보내면 곧 헤어질
곧 헤어질
느낌인
약간
것 같은데요.
경고라고 해야 되나, right? So could be a warning of an imminent breakup, so be careful out there. So.
Yeah, so this is what we call very ironic. 시의 대표적인 특징이라고 할 수 있잖아요.
Oh yeah, I mean ironic보다는 약간 irony, so 반어법. So
Okay,
like
alright.
the meaning I guess would be reversed for a lot of the stuff that there's lots of stuff there. I mean probably the most famous line would be the very final line. So 죽어도 아니 눈물 흘리오리다. So what that means, the literal meaning would be I'd prefer to die than shed a single tear when you leave. But it actually means 솔직히 뭐 눈물 많이 흘리겠다는 얘기죠. 솔직히 that she would be the speaker in this case, assumed to be a female speaker, would be incredibly sad, right?
Right.
And,
사실 눈물 하나 흘리기 시작하면
맞죠. 한 방울 쭉.
끝도 없죠.
예, 끝없이.
Once you start crying, and
There's no end.
There's really no end.
Exactly. So sadness right there. So, so another example I would say irony in poetry would be lightly treading. So normally 뭐 the 사뿐히 and then 줄여밟고. So because how can you tread lightly on flowers, right? If there are azaleas spread on a path here, beautiful azaleas, then if you're treading on them, you're, I guess, killing the flowers, but it combines that imagery of treading lightly, right? Or crushing the flowers lightly. So that's another good example of irony, I guess, right? So.
Yeah, and I think even the setting as well. I think, a lot of these literary works, they make tragedy look beautiful. And so the setting, I think here, the Yeongbyeon, the mountain, Yaksan?
Yes. So the Yaksan mountain in Yeongbyeon. Now, this is, in fact, a real place. So 실제로 여기 등장한 영변이 바로 북한의 핵시설 있는 so the nuclear power plant in North Korea nuclear facility 바로 그 영변입니다. So very famous place. And apparently the Yeongbyeon area was famous for its really red colored azaleas. So 진달래꽃은 바로 피처럼 붉은 색깔로 유명했다는 것 얘기가 있더라고요.
네. 근데 그 verse 1을 보면 so he's going to send her off.
Or vice versa.
Or
Typically a
she's
female
gonna,
speaker.
Right,
They-
she's going to
as we
send
assume.
him off. And
Exactly.
when you do, I'm going to send you off with flowers.
Yes, without saying anything. So 말없이 here would be without a single word, and then 고이 would be in peace, or very lightly, carefully. Right, I'll send you off without any fuss, not a single word. Right. So-
Yeah.
And then the subject here is missing, but 가실 때에는 누구를 간다면은 님이, right? So the person that she is betrothed to or in a relationship with, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, this is something that I think nowadays you don't see a lot of no word, no fuss.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama in all relationships
Yeah,
these days, I guess.
yeah.
Especially on social media, right?
Sure. Yeah, and I think that's the reason why it becomes a little bit sadder because there's no response. So
Yes, there's-
it leaves you hanging. Oh, what are you thinking?
Exactly.
그게 더
대답이 없어서.
맞아요. 뭘 어떻게 궁금하게 만드는 것 같은데요.
It's a one-way dialogue.
Right. Getting in a message 6003님께서는 이 아zel리아 꽃 사진을 보내주시는 것 같은데요. 지난해 봄에 찍은 사진이라고. Wow. It's like fuchsia pink.
Oh, it's gorgeous, right?
Yeah. So imagine just, a mountain full of that.
Exactly. If you've seen the cherry blossoms, right? So similar, kind of much darker color, I
Right.
guess, here. Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's beautiful. Azaleas, 진달래꽃. 멋진 시였습니다.
Ah, yes. Oh, and if I could just touch on one other maybe term that might be tricky there. So in the second verse, so the 아름을 단다는 얘기, 아름다다, right? So this is a part that often confuses foreign readers. So what this is talking about is one armful. So 한 아름을 딴다는 얘기입니다. Not
I see.
아름다움, not beauty per se.
Okay,
Right?
I
So, yeah.
see.
So plucking an armful of flowers and then 가실길, so putting them on or, kind of scattering them on the road that you're going to take. as you
Right.
leave. So-
And this is great. I think there's lots of times where you break up and then you say 절대로 안 볼 거야. And 근데 이런 경우에는 약간 잘 헤어진 경우인 것 같아요.
맞죠.
Like
슬픔
가득 찬.
가득 찬 헤어짐이지만.
So as you leave, I'm still gonna hope you wish you well.
Exactly right. So yeah.
And,
and
yeah. That's some
nice
mature
breakup.
love there.
It sure is, right? So, yeah.
문자도 다시 한번 보내주시는 건데요. 2450님께서는 음악과 교수님의 신앙송 목소리가 너무 잘 어울리네요.
맞습니다.
다음에 또 읽어주세요. 라고 보냈습니다.
Coming right up, in fact.
Yeah, should we move right on? Well, before we do, I should say, if you're just joining us now, we are talking about poems here on High Level Korean with Professor Dan, and we wanted to give our listeners a chance to win some free coffee with a quiz. 오늘의 2부 퀴즈. 다음 중 진달래꽃을 쓴 시인은 누구일까요? 1번 박목월, 2번 윤동주, 3번 김소월. 정답 아시는 분들은 샵 1013, 단문 50원, 장문 100원, 유료 문자 보내주시면 추첨을 통해서 커피 쿠폰 드리고 있습니다. We are getting lots of messages. 많은 분들이 정답을 맞추셨는데요. 2021님, 그리고 8081-0070님, 3843님께서도 와우, 많이 보내주시는데요. They all got it right. Congratulations. Keep on bringing your messages in. Well, I think we're continuing on with the theme of flowers today.
We sure are. And
봄이 다가오니까.
맞습니다. So the end of February, right? So the beginning of March here. So the second one is a much simpler poem and a much simpler title as well. So instead of 진달래꽃, it's simply 꽃. So, and this is by the poet Kim Chun-soo. So slightly later than the previous poet who I won't name because the quiz is still ongoing, right? So.
들어보시죠.
네. 음악 큐. 내가 그의 이름을 불러주기 전에는 그는 다만 하나의 몸짓에 지나지 않았다. Before I called her name, she was nothing more than a gesture. 내가 그의 이름을 불러주었을 때 그는 나에게로 와서 꽃이 되었다. When I called her name, she came to me and became a flower. 내가 그의 이름을 불러준 것처럼 나의 이 빛깔과 향기에 알맞은 누가 나의 이름을 불러다오. 그에게로 가서 나도 그의 꽃이 되고 싶다. Like I called her name, will someone please call my name that suits my light and fragrance and essence? I too long to come to her and become her flower. 우리들은 모두 무엇이 되고 싶다. 너는 나에게, 나는 너에게 잊혀지지 않는 하나의 눈짓이 되고 싶다. We all long to be something. You to me and I to you. Long to become a gaze that won't be forgotten.
That's beautiful.
어땠어요?
That was beautiful. I loved it. It's interesting. For me, it was the first time. I'm sure these are huge, famous poems.
Very famous poems, for
here
sure.
in Korea. But for me, it was the first time to really dissect.
For sure, look at them very closely.
Very, very in depth.
해석하는 거죠.
그렇죠. 그 첫 부분은 the first two verses, it seemed very narcissistic.
Agreed.
그렇죠?
So, yeah.
So 처음에는 네가 나한테 왔기 때문에 뭔가 된 거지.
존재감이 생겼다.
그렇죠.
Right? So,
이제
안 불렀으면 아무것도 아니다.
아무것도 아닌데 나를 만나가지고 꽃이 된 거라. You bloomed and blossomed because
너무
of me.
이기적이죠.
그죠? 너무 이기적인데 또 반면으로는 자기도 그런 트리트먼트를
Exactly.
받고 싶다는 거예요.
그 화차도 역시 he wants to also be called right by something. Here.
Oh,
So,
that's
yeah.
beautiful.
It sure is. And some of the kind of hard stuff before we look at some of the, the metaphysical kind of imagery here. In the first verse, 하나의 몸짓. So in this case, 몸짓 could be like a gesture or some kind of physical response.
Right.
Movement, exactly,
great.
right? So that's 지나지 않았다. So did not exceed, was nothing more than, right? A simple physical response or gesture, right? So let's see, what else? Some other difficult terms that I would look at in the third verse that might be kind of tricky would be 빛깔. So in this case, light, and also 향기, so fragrance. But I think what it's trying to talk about here is more the the essence, the 본질. So yeah, what something that would match who you are as a person, maybe,
All right.
So. And then let's see what else. And this is a pretty famous one in the last verse. 너는 나에게, 나는 너에게. So,
그러니까요.
yeah, 그거는 뭐
That was the best 마무리 ever.
Exactly. 음악에 뭐 자주 나오는 가사에 자주 나오는
그렇죠.
그 말이죠. So yeah, you to me and I to you, right? So
Something of, equal treatment.
exactly. That it's a two-way street.
It's a two-way street.
Exactly.
주고받는 일이잖아요.
감정이죠.
사랑도 마찬가지로
맞습니다.
사랑을 주고 사랑을 원하는 게 우리의 본능이잖아요.
맞죠. 인정을 받고 싶고.
그렇죠.
Right? So yeah, we want to be recognized
That's
to
true.
become that flower.
That's
right?
true.
So, yeah. And in general, like I guess the kind of literary critique of this poem by Kim Chun-soo here is that it talks about, I guess, the essence and meaning of existence. So 전제, 본질과 의미를 해석하는 시이고요. So kind of exploring that. And also 이름이라는 거 가지는 상징성에 탐구하는 시이고요. So exploring, kind of discovering the importance of, I guess, symbolism in names. So by
Right.
calling someone, you recognize who they are as well.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
All very 인정하는 거, 인식하는 거죠. Right?
Yeah, I think so. It's an important or interesting, I should say, point of this poem is that an identity is given to you by
From
your
your
loved
name.
ones. Yeah, from your name.
Exactly, right.
And so nobody recognize or calls you by your name, it seems like I have no am I not in existence?
Exactly.
Do I not have an identity?
Exactly. And we all have many names. Like, I am Daniel, I'm 교수님, I'm 친구.
Your dad,
남편,
your
exactly,
husband.
아빠. Tons of different roles.
Sure.
How about you? What kind of names do you take on?
Yeah, I think this is an interesting one, interesting question because you can value them quite differently, right?
For sure.
I mean, I am quite proud of who I am as, a daughter. I think I think I'm a wonderful daughter. 진짜 세상에서 제일 착한 딸인 것 같아요. But I think I'm also
효녀네요.
그죠?
Right.
Also a great sister.
That's great.
I'm a wonderful DJ.
Agreed.
I'm good at my
100점
job.
만점에 100점.
Hopefully, I'm good at my job. But I think just being somebody to be someone that you can rely on, I think is always a good one.
의존할 만한
그렇죠.
사람이죠.
의지할 수 있는 사람이라면 you can be a good friend to anybody. Really.
Agreed. Those are excellent character traits.
Yeah, these are great. Well, thank you very much.